Peace and power. Peace and power. We are back. We are in, what is this, chapter 9?
This is chapter 10.
Chapter 10.
Chapter 10. Awakening the Hawk. Um, so we are continuing to read Awakening the Master Feminine by Master Yao Morris. Um, Peace, prosperity, and abundance, everyone. I am Jenny Marie, or the Abundant Sister. Yeah.
Are you gonna plug? Are you playing your plug?
You know, yes, I will. I will. But I think about why I don't right off the top. Anyway, yes, Soul Sister Beauty is my skincare line. And that's SISTAR. And all of my information is also in the description to this video as well. You can follow me on Instagram, Twitter. I'm here on YouTube. Um, yes, podcast When We Think of Us.
You read my mind.
Yes, When We Think of Us, right here on YouTube. We're also on Apple. Or what is it? Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Pandora, all of it, SoundCloud, all that good stuff. Peace, Brother Uno. I meant to give gratitude for tuning in also on Thursday. Thank you.
Greetings, brother. Well, I just took my little supplement. Let me get a little water.
Oh.
Okay. So I was just prepping for the plug.
Had to get hydrated for that.
Right. I think we have to get used to always talking about what we got going on. That's it. It's like weird, but if people don't know, they can't really support. And so we are gonna plug because guess what? We created this little series. And so we don't have to pay for advertising here. So we're gonna get it in every time. And so I am Styles by Nina, LLC. Also doing business as Katie's Alchemy. Shout out to the gardeners out there. Gardening class. It's usually on Sunday right before we get on here. And so we did have to push it back. We are wrapping up the book. And shout out to Instagram and everybody that comes over here from over there as well. I know Instagram is not usually full of people that generally will tune in over and over again for a book. But we are converting people. And so we appreciate the support. You can go over there. I am Katie's Alchemy and Styles by Nina. And what else? YouTube, both names. All of this will be in the description box, but I'm going to let y'all know anyway. And so I am Styles by Nina, the urban intellectual on Twitter. I do have a podcast. Haven't been tending to it, but it is called Combos from Cloud9. It is specifically catered to those that partake in the herbs, and we talk about whatever we want there. And so
oh my gosh, I did not even know that.
Yeah. Yeah. We come on, everybody creates a undercover name. And so I am Reggie Miller over there. And we talk about all the world events and stuff.
Reggie Miller.
Yeah.
I love it.
So you pick your name, you come on, very discreet, you talk, get it out, and shout out to everybody from other countries that support me there. I didn't even realize. And so whoever you are, just create wherever you go and start leaving what we call a digital footprint, and eventually that all build up and you can start to see the fruit from your labors. And so y'all go over there, y'all can look for it. It is on all streaming platforms. The more you listen, the more I generate income. And so that's what it's all about for me. I'm Sag, ruled by Jupiter. Y'all know I naturally love being Cancer ascendant.
Mm.
Um we just naturally love people, and so I do be more so about my business. And
Say
I
the name of the podcast one more time. What is it?
combos from Cloud9.
Convo.
Yep. And I'm gonna share it to you.
Yeah.
But yeah, you can come on. Anybody can come on. You create your name, and we talk about these world events. The reason why I like podcasts is because it's not as much censorship. The rules are different on the radio,
Mm-hmm.
so you can just really let it flow, and it'll pick up traction. So yeah, don't forget about that. I do create oils, body butters, and also hair, skincare, whatever you can think of. I have herbs and teas. Just reach out if you're dealing with something you want to go the natural route. You feel comfortable. You tell me the condition, and I'll create you a herbal, a holistic journey to health. Okay, we don't promote cures here because we know with YouTube, they will
Mm-hmm.
pull your video if you talk about curing anything. And so we respect the platforms. It's still a way for us to get ourselves out there. And so we do have to play by the rules. We're just trying to monetize anything outside of that. We don't be emotional about it, especially in business. And so y'all go over and support Brother Uno. He has his own channel. Uno had a library full. He took all his videos down. I was mad at you, Uno. I remember. He deleted all his content, but we know that Brother Uno has all of the books. If you are okay with PDFs, he can get you any book. And so that's what a history is. If you're not a reader, 9 times out of 10, you can't correct the past. Before we can move forward, we have to see what happened in the past so we can not allow that to happen right now. Or sometimes it seems like we're on a loop, and it's because people don't think the history is important. And so shout out to Brother Uno. He comes here, he supports, showing up for the book. We are and have decided that once we go into reading the male version of this book, it'll be after the summertime.
Yeah.
Spring is busy. The garden, these seeds are not waiting. And so, yeah, we need a break. We need to ponder on the information, and then we'll come back once we go back in the house. And we're gonna go back in the house once the weather starts to be a little bit colder. I am a fall baby, so I'll probably still be out there. But we just want to let you all know how we're gonna play out. We're gonna try to read it back to back. It's just we don't
Mm.
want to be committed to something when we trying to be outside.
Yeah.
Whatever your outside is, we all need a break. We need y'all to get some of that sun. That
Mm-hmm.
your eyes are the only path to vitamin D being inside of your body. So you have to get your sun through your eyes. That's the natural, organic way. And you can't do that in the house on here. Now, feel free while we on break to press replay on these chapters because it's a lot of information. And so if you're still supporting us, hit replay, go back through these chapters, and that will push us up in the algorithm so that when we do come back after summer, it'll be back to back. And we are healing each other through these books. It's just amazing information. So yeah, yeah. Anything else you want to put out there?
No,
Okay.
no, I don't even want to follow any of that.
You probably got lost. I got lost, child. Listen.
Mm-mm.
But yeah, we just we want to create more. I think that everybody should look into get just a podcast for your business because eventually you're not gonna be probably able to plug your business because this is all being turned into something else.
Mm.
Everything Facebook and Instagram associated is becoming the metaverse. So we don't know what that looks like, but me personally, I like the real universe, not the digital. Is cool. you secure you some funds inside the digital, but being there 24/7 is just not appealing for me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I know people that are already addicted. I just be like, wow, that was fast.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But
It's
we,
quite fascinating for sure how it's all evolving.
and did
Mm-hmm.
you watch that movie? The one with Tom Hanks? I think we
Mm-mm.
watched it in class. Oh, well, it was a movie with Tom Hanks. Same thing. People in their homes with these goggles on, and their bodies look totally different. Some of them are so addicted to the avatar that even when they're in the house, they still are plugged in because they can't see themselves
Oh wow.
in normal form. And so it broke up marriages and all in the movie. We know that's like programming.
Mm-mm.
Can you imagine being with a mate that just can't unplug? That is
Mm-mm.
like, yeah. So yeah, we like to be in the real world. I know me personally, and that's what I like about the podcast too. Like I said, it's not censored, and then you have people that tune in just to hear. They don't mind that they can't come in and talk bad. They showing up for you just to see what you got to say. And so, yeah, look into that, everybody. Brother Uno, that was for you. I'm here, not in fear.
Elbow call.
What is an elbow call? Like what? Okay, but yeah, we are on, and I think you want me to start first.
Yeah, sure. Page 138.
Ooh, okay. Let me get a drink of water. This is y'all. This one is kind of long, and the shock factor is like, ugh.
It's very daggerly, right?
Mm-hmm. Okay. Chapter 10: Awakening the Hawk, Restoring Intuitive Thinking. The Seated Hawk. The icon of the seated hawk is a woman's body with the head of a hawk. The image, for purposes of visualization, is a wise and stern looking woman holding a set of blueprints in her hand. She is seated on a chair of authority. Rays of power radiate out from the chair. This aspect of the feminine energy is the intuitive function of the right brain. It is a woman's ability to intuit the solution or plan straight from her DNA or spirit. It is to think from the intuition first and to rely on a reason and logic second. It is synergistic, inclusive, and holistic. This is not to function from hunches or feelings, but to have the ability to access real information from an internal source. There is a real difference in the way females and males process information. This is not a learned skill, but something which is built into the DNA. When a woman restricts her model of thinking to a non feminine carrier, this also restricts her energy. It in effect changes her personality. It in effect changes her personality. Part of the reason why the master feminine faculty shuts down prematurely is the education system in the West. And part of the reason why females fail in relationships is because males have been conditioned not to comprehend their communications. Further, men do not place value on the natural thinking process of the female. This is very significant. John Gray began to address this issue in the book Men Are From Mars and Women Are From Venus. But the issue has relevance far beyond just a communications issue.
So, just really quickly, I don't want to interrupt for too long, but so is your interpretation that in addition to males not being conditioned to interpret the way we communicate, they also don't value the our natural thinking process.
I believe it. And I'm gonna give you an example. I believe it. So we working in the yard, and first of all, it was a big snake out there. Um, and just for y'all, we did find the chickens that we had missing. They ended up being up under the shed. So what it looked like is the snake grabbed it and dragged it into like a, I don't know if he was eating over time.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, so all we found was a skeleton. But other than that, I'm walking in that shed. And so I said something. Cause I was first of all, I don't know why we didn't kill the snake. I don't know why the snake got away. And Ray like, well, you could have killed it. And I'm like, you're the snake killer. I don't want to kill the snake. He like, what did that? And so I look at it because the snake has been around before us. And so I just feel funny just killing it. I have killed one, but just it's
Mm.
it's natural. So I'm thinking about the chickens, all that. But we interacting. And so he said something in regards or reference to me not thinking about what I was saying. And I was like, no, I'm thinking about it because I'm a Gemini moon. Like, I always be thinking like 24/8. But I just feel like, and have always felt like men don't value our way of thinking. Sometimes that we think it all.
Mm.
If the man is old enough, he might not think that you should be thinking it all. And so those are just ancient ways of thinking, but it's coming. Yeah. So what do you
Hmm.
think about that? Your face tells it all.
I mean, yeah, I mean, I can see it. I can see it. I think even working professionally in like kind of like a technical field, it's
Mm-hmm.
automatically assumed that I'm bored whenever, you know, technology or things involving just like a lot of logic, um or that I just, don't know, you know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's very interesting. But
Yeah.
I also thought that it was really cool that um ta- having the feminine faculty activated
Mm-hmm.
in terms of the thinking, where you're led by intuition or spirit first, but there is still logic. It's just secondary, so it complements the intuition.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that was cool.
It complements the intuition.
Hmm.
And so you're saying when he's talking about DNA and spirit, or are you saying just in general?
So where it just so it is a woman's ability to intuit the solution or plan straight from her DNA or spirit.
Mm-hmm.
And it says it is to think from the intuition first and to rely on reason and logic second. So the reason and logic part of the thinking complements the intuition and spiritual that tap in
Mm-hmm.
first, rather than, I think we've been talking about how there's this feeling of needing to be more logical first.
Yes.
Yeah. And
And
so it's actually quite the opposite, that the logic, it is used. It's not, something that's abandoned altogether, which is initially what I was thinking, that
mm-hmm.
okay, I just need to focus on being intuitive, but like what if I'm a fairly logical person as well? It's like, yeah, you're using that also. It's
Right.
just not, overpowering everything.
Right. I think when I tried that, because I did, um, it just didn't work out. My decisions were flawed.
Mm,
Um, just being a Gemini moon, I'm an overthinker, and so if we making decisions in logic only, it just doesn't play out well for me. And No, my intuition is never off though. Spirit is never off, and so it might not make sense. But what Ray's learning to do is just say, "Well, I don't see the vision, but I see results, so we can go with that." And so that's a plus.
Mm-hmm.
Because I thought I was supposed to be, oh, I need to get out my emotions, and no, I need to. No, not for females.
Mm.
Not for anybody outside, but women, our intuition is never off. Okay, so pick up. Okay. Most women can identify with the elegant rose energy or the moon energy. We easily associate being female, with the maternal thing or the sexy pleasure thing. However, women seem less familiar with the natural thinking patterns of the female. Our society does not generally discuss the various polar dynamics of the genders, such as the left brain versus the right brain, or anabolic versus catabolic, sympathetic versus parasympathetic, acid versus alkaline, etc. But if a woman wants to diet, dance, be creative, have intense orgasms, work, exercise, or sleep, and she wants to get the maximum out of these activities, she definitely wants to know about her right brain ability and its connection to her feminine energy. So bear with us as we take a short detour and discuss the operation of the brain and the Western education system. So, human intelligence is expressed through the human brain in one of four ways. The brain arrives at conclusions and makes a judgment based on one of four processes. These are integration or intuitive revelation, synthesis or synergistic observation, deductive reasoning or logic, and inductive analysis or analysis. Deductive reasoning logic is linear, left brain, and microcosmic. It is a process of being informed. It separates the subject into small parts and analyzes each one in turn based on the problem. It is to learn by definitions. The conclusion is then deducted from the information gained from the parts. Sciences such as chemistry. Inductive analysis is abstract, left brain, and microcosmic. It separates the subject into its components based on the like functioning of the components. It then employs abstract analogies to work backwards from the desired conclusion to determine what steps must have been involved to get to that conclusion. We understand one thing by comparing it to another thing. So we understand one thing by comparing it to another thing. And this will be up on the math or investigative reporting or criminal investigation. Synthesis is holistic, it's right brain and macrocosmic. In synthesis, you start by an examination of the big picture in respect to how the parts of the whole fit because of the system that connects them together. Hmm. You are not so concerned with knowing the parts, but an understanding of the synergy that allows the system to work. And this would go under common sense, ecosystems, biology, carpentry, apprenticeship, naturopathic medicine, or AN, I would say. Okay, so integration is intuitive, right brain, and macrocosmic. This method requires the person to be in a trance state, such as watching television, dreaming, daydreaming, meditation, yoga, prayer, or just absent minded. A vision or image of the thing is placed in the mind. Remove any preconceived notions about the thing. The right brain then opens to the subconscious mind and automatically indexes to the sources of information about the thing. It will even penetrate down into DNA or past life memory. When trained, the subject can even open to the elemental realm or plant, animal, or insect kingdom to retrieve information. What? Let me highlight that. That is so amazing. Wow. It says you can tap into the plant world. Look, I got so excited I done lost the page. What page did I leave off on?
140. 140. I'm sorry, I was just reading.
Okay, let me highlight this. So it says when trained, the subject can even open to the elemental realm or plant realm, or plant, animal, or insect kingdom to receive or retrieve information. Wisdom or information is then transferred from these sources into the awake mind for processing. Once these inputs are received and transferred by the right brain, the left brain must then figure out how to integrate these insights into a conclusion that makes sense. Often the person will arrive at a conclusion and not really understand how they did so. This happens to me all the time. Right. And then I have to go back and think about, well, yeah, how did I get to that?
Mm.
And so it goes into over explaining yourself. And so I was reading today that you over explaining yourself is a result of some type of trauma or lack when you were younger. And so you feel like you gotta point out your point of view, or if somebody doesn't really give you validation, then you're going to the why, and
Mm.
it's not necessary. It's just a decision. And
Mm.
sometimes your intuition will have you like that, like this is just a decision. It's just something that I feel. You know what I'm saying? So, oh, that's some good stuff. And it said that you can go into the animal kingdom. So I'm thinking about the book, Animal Speak. And so this is the book I was telling you about.
Mm-hmm.
Where it also they tell you how to work with the elements to do a lot of stuff. I was thinking about the sticks in the yard. But just each animal, it gives you the what they call folklore information or background on it too, which is mostly the traditional information. And so that's a good book. What's it? Transfer to right brain. So yeah, often the person will arrive at a conclusion and not really understand how they did so.
Mm.
Women are born with a predisposition to process information through the brain using either the synthesis or intuitive models. It is based on a big picture format. Men are born with a predisposition to process information through the brain using either the logic or analysis models. It is a step by step format. Of course, we all have some capacity for all four models. Specific women have excelled in all four models, as have specific men. But in general, we find that each sex is geared to a yin or yang model. There is nothing wrong with females using the logic or analysis models, but if she only thinks in the left brain way, it will change her energy. Men brought up in a Western style society look down on women who employ synthesis or intuition into their normal thinking regimen. Thinking in this way is seen as being inferior to the more scientific and logical method. The truth is that intuitive right brain thinking is the most complex and by far offers the most value of the four. Synthesis and analysis are both critical models in today's climate. Logic is the least complex and offers value in respect to technology, but has almost no applications in respect to life and living well. To consistently to consistently apply logic to relationship situations is to guarantee oneself a steady stream of failure. This is the definition of being a nerd. Before we return to the main discussion and the greater relevance of all this, we need to devote a paragraph or two to the education system and the racial profiles. There are four main racial types. There are four basic types of education systems in the world. The table which follows shows the correlation. So this is a table on gender, race, and education models. In the first column, we have race, gender, and so the white race, which is male, and also left brain analysis. The white race, male, left brain, and the analysis model. The educational model or the education model is military academy, boarding school, regimented. Students learn by problem solving and following strictly an example. Complements the army and economy. And so that will be the white race, the male, the left brain, and the analysis model. Yellow race, male, left brain, logic, and science. The education model, the current public school system. Students learn by being informed by the teacher, mainly memory work. The curriculum is a series of subjects, each seen as a separate life unit and each taught as a science. Students copy knowledge from books but do not need to understand it. The next one is the red race, female, right brain, synthesis, and ecosystems. And this would be the outdoor school or the apprenticeship. Students will learn by observation. The surroundings are the classroom. The student spends time mastering a system or environment, then use synthesis to comprehend the part or action by how it works within the system. To understand the big picture first and base all future information on this central understanding. And the black race, this female right brain thinking or right brain. The initiation system. Students learn by intuition. The sixth sense is trained through some rite of transformation. Transformation. The student gains the ability to channel information seemingly from out of nowhere. All occult, psychic, intuitive, and mediums are related to this system. So this will be all of the occult, psychic, intuitive, and mediums. People speaking with the spirits. They're related to the initiation system. Okay. I gotta close this window. It's like bugs. I'm over here swatting. Let me send a link to my sister. I know we got on late. And y'all share the link. Everybody who here. But I know she will hop on. Let me see. There we go. I sent it to Lisa too. Okay. The public school system. Let me see if I skipped anything. Okay. The public school system is based on the logic, the science, and analysis, which is problem solving models. So this is the public school system. They based on logic, which is science, and analysis, which is problem solving. They are both left brain centric and geared to the male learning pattern. This system has its origin in ancient Asia more than Europe. Academic and religious institutions in the West belittle the other two models, which were very common in Europe and Asia in the past, and are still common in indigenous societies. As Western society moves forward toward a green consciousness and sustainable form of living, the right brain models are gaining in popularity. We need all four models, of course. To restrict the population to only the left brain side is to cripple the development of men and women. We all know women who have that sixth sense. Mothers sometimes can just sense things about their children. Wives just know certain things about their mates. The best books, songs, music, and plays are written via inspiration. They just come to the creator seemingly just out of the blue. In science, business, and the arts, the greatest discoveries are not via research and analysis, but from pure inspiration and intuition. In the past, women operated from their sixth sense much more often, and the faculty was trained to a much greater refinement and power. When the woman gains the ability to really tap into her right brain hemisphere potential, such that she can genuinely make judgments and give insight from a higher source, she becomes a resource that men respect. Males are then controlled, Males are then compelled to follow her. This is the woman who is moving all things from behind the scenes. This is the queen bee who orchestrates the life of the colony of bees from a central place. The evolved woman knows that the plan and the purpose for everything in life are already there. You just need to be able to sense it. In the Assyrian religion of ancient Egypt, the Tao of China, the Vedic scripts of India, the sacred path texts of the Native American high cultures, and the Kabbalah of the Sumerian and the Hebrew all share a similar concept called the tree of life. At the top of this tree is a trinity of three entities said to play a major role in the life and evolution of mankind. One of these entities is always a female, usually depicted as a woman's body with the head of an animal. The woman is always seated, and in her hands are symbols of power. The ancient Egypt version of is Sekert. Sekert. She is pictured as a seated hawk. Scholars in the West have for centuries misunderstood the imagery and metaphoric language of these early cultures. Only now is the true meaning of the woman with the head of the hawk being understood. The early Egyptians were not worshiping a hawk headed god. That is silly. They were way more spiritually sophisticated than that. The image of the woman with the head of the hawk meant that she represented a hawkish quality within an otherwise yin and feminine profile. That the hawk headed woman was seated that the hawk-headed woman was seated was very significant. It implied that her power was such that it was unnecessary for her to leave her seat or take any external action in order to achieve her needs. She was a feminine hawk that did not need to hunt to obtain its prey. The metaphors and icons of each archetype gives us clues about the way feminine yin energy works. Implied in all of them is the concept of indirect action. It is the passive aggressive dynamic. The yin dynamic looks passive until you get up close. The male yang motive is like an eagle swooping down on its prey. He is a hunter. It takes direct action. He has to think a certain way to be like this. The female yin motive is more like a spider, which spins a web and waits. Also, we can think of a fisherwoman who baits her hook and waits. Can you see that? To be this fisherwoman, to be this way, you have to think a certain way. The seated female hawk is just as hawkish as the standing male hawk, but they are hawkish and obtain their objectives in opposite ways. The male is openly aggressive. The female constructs a trap or employs some agent to work on her behalf. And the thinking model for male and female is based on this dynamic. Yeah, let me get my bookmark. I keep getting lost in the words over here. Hold on. I'm like, all this is blurring at this point. Okay. He's a hunter. Okay. Let's start. The seated female hawk is just as hawkish as the standing male hawk, but they are hawkish and obtain their objectives in opposite ways. The male is openly aggressive, and the female constructs a trap or employs some agent to work on her behalf. And the thinking model for male and female is based on this dynamic. The male must research, explore, or analyze to obtain information. The female gains access to the wisdom that is already inside or in the environment at hand. It is difficult for her personality to develop fully or her sexual energy to mature fully if she does not connect the two halves of her brain to the left to the right of her brain, the left to the right. We are simply talking about what is. This is the way feminine energy naturally works. The feminine woman sets up a cause, she defines a purpose, but she does not take the actual action to obtain her goal. That is the job of the male. Females achieve their objectives without ever leaving the nest. It is the very act of bringing forth the plan from within that she sets up the matrix that determines what the final outcome will be. She brings forth her plan from within. The plan is set. It is not based on what she observes out there, but from what already is in her DNA. Ooh, already is in the DNA. Her plan is in alignment with natural law, the cycles, DNA, and the ecosystem. She does not need to do anything more except get out of the way and let it happen. At this point, the female stops and hands this plan off to the male. She hands over her goal to the male and becomes submissive. She is submissive in order not to interfere in the actual completion of the task. It is an energy thing. If her energy continues to be dominant while the male is doing his thing, it will hinder the male. Also, in the act of turning her energy around and being submissive, she throws a boomerang. Hold on. She throws a boomerang. She draws back to her like a vacuum what she has sent out into the matrix to be done. The male looks around to see what is required to do this thing handed to him by the female. He has to be left brain and practical so that this dream of the female, this ideal vision, can be made into a real thing. This is not easy. There may not be enough money, time, or plans to complete it. He may say no, or he may say yes, but with these changes. He is in charge, but not in charge of accomplishing her agenda. He completes his task and brings the finished product back to the female. She becomes hawkish again. She is back in charge now. It is his turn to become passive. She is in charge of how to use or distribute these goods once he has produced them. Can you comprehend how the sexes complement each other? Neither sex is in charge absolutely,
Oh, okay. So it says he is in charge, but in charge of accomplishing her agenda.
but in charge. Okay.
Okay.
And so
That makes sense.
I
How
got lost.
neither is really fully in charge because one really can't exist without the other.
Right.
So that makes sense.
Letting both play their parts.
Hmm.
It's like I feel like us as women, we try to play both the parts and it's so exhausting.
Hmm.
And then we fussing about having to play both the parts when you really don't have to. You just gotta learn how to chill and trust that whatever you saw, it'll be brought into fruition. So you read that part again. Where did I stop? I got lost. Okay.
Did you find it?
Um,
You said, can you comprehend how the sexes complement each other?
yeah. Is that the second paragraph? Oh, okay, I see it.
Mm-mm.
Oh, yeah, I read that part, I thought. Yeah. So, can you comprehend how the sexes complement each other? Neither sex is in charge, absolutely. The male is the executive of the family, responsible just to carry out the plan. The female is the board of directors, responsible for coming up with the plan, or purpose. But life is in charge. Life is telling both of them what to do. And this question of who is in charge is silly. We are all trying to learn our lessons as fast as we can, so our butt whipping of life will not be so severe. To be a city hawk, a woman has to be hawkish about the future of her family, her community, and her country. It is unselfish. To sit on the throne carries great power, but also great responsibility. Without an understanding of the city hall archetype, they are handicapped. Women are too quick to let society, men, or commercial interests set the prime agenda, the first cause. She has to produce a vision of where her family and society needs to go. It must be naturally aligned. It should be sustainable. The Amazon woman only works from her plan. Men resist cooperating. The seated hawk woman intuits a natural plan that is inclusive. Men are compelled to follow. She can rein her man in and change the course he was on without upsetting the balance in her relationship with him. She does not have to bash him or break him or rebuke him to get him to see things differently. A truly feminine woman has tremendous power of influence over a man. Women may seem passive on the surface, but they are by far the more powerful of the sexes. She does not need to go toe to toe with a yang male to achieve her ends. Hey Chanel, the women who are serious about achieving goddess status must get out of their egos and get over themselves. I am talking about the whole issue of submission. It has become a dirty word to most women, but women needs to come to grips with some stuff. Men want to fight for you, do for you, put your needs first, and be there for you. The reason some of them stop doing these things for women is because females blocked it. They blocked it by trying to be men. It is the same issue as patriotism. A common man is looking for something to believe in. He wants to put his country first, but the politicians keep making him lose faith. In domestic situations, it is the same. Men want to be good fathers and sons and husbands, but often make the wrong decisions at the crossroads. Keep in mind that these men are not fully developed. They are operating with 25% of the masculine deck. So the boy is stumbling through life in the first place. His father never told him what his role was because his father did not know. In most domestic situations, the male is responding to something the female did. This does not excuse his poor behavior. I'm just telling you like it is. If the female works her role and stays the hell out of his, he will likely come around. And his role sometimes means being in authority. When one person is in authority, the other person is being submissive. And maybe at first he will not know how to handle being in charge. But he will never get it if you jump out of character every time he asserts himself. It is an energy thing. Being submissive is not about being passive. You never let people abuse you, not a man or a woman. But men are meant to regulate women, just as women are meant to regulate men. It is about staying in your role. It is by definition a check and balance relationship. In any relationship, only one person can be in charge at a time. When a client walks into the doctor's office, the client is in charge. The doctor is working for the client. The doctor is submissive. But once the client tells the doctor what is wrong, the client becomes a patient and submits to the doctor. Now the doctor is in charge. You do what the doctor says, and once the doctor finishes your treatment, you are back in charge now. It is time to pay him. You now decide if you like the treatment or not. Then you pay him. Being submissive is about knowing what in creation your role is. When you are doing your thing, everyone else needs to sit down and shut up. But when it is your man's turn at the plate, you need to learn to sit still and shut up. It is time to follow. It is just that simple. But when the woman cannot do this, it will almost certainly follow that the man will act out in a negative way. Now, a lot of men do not respect the opinion and role of the woman, but when she gets that right brain mojo going, he gets a fresh respect for her. It is the queen bee thing. He learns to give you your proper respect. Hmm. So it is not one person being in charge all the time.
Hmm.
And
The
when
other
it's
thing that I thought was so beautiful about the hawkish woman is where so it says that she only has to be hawkish about community and family and the country, right?
mm-hmm,
And that she has to produce a vision of where her family and society needs to go. And so
mm-hmm,
she intuits a natural plan that is inclusive, so it includes everybody. And so just by naturally doing that, there's no need to you won't bump heads with the men because it's not about, or you don't need to bash him or emasculate him or do anything like that because everything that is integrated into your plan includes everybody.
right,
Everyone is taken into consideration.
yeah. And so the clashes come in when somebody has a plan and it don't include everybody.
Mm.
I think.
Yeah, and isn't that like a negative? So that was like one of the negative broadcasts of this particular faculty. And I mean, I see how harmful that can be.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
I'm sure. Yeah. So do anybody in the chat did anything stand out to you all before we continue to read? I'm just thinking it's like a lot of information. I definitely have to go back and play this back.
Hmm. You know what, Nina? I think that there's a delay on the comments that we see here. It may, I don't know. I don't know how we do that, but I feel like there's a little bit of a delay from what we're seeing on StreamYard and what's actually broadcasting on YouTube. So we're getting people's stuff late.
Oh,
So we'll probably get the feedback. Saying that to say we'll get everyone's feedback in a couple minutes.
oh, okay. I was so lost. I'm like,
You'll get answers to your questions in a couple minutes. Is my point. You just asked what people thought about it.
yeah, this it just goes to show, like I said, the balance is thrown off when women are trying to be men. And so,
Mm.
like I was telling you, we used to call that the spirit of takeover.
Mm.
Like, just can't relax and chill. You just gotta be taking it over.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I can say me for one, Ray probably would say I have the spirit of take. We went out there to do the garden bed, and so he had this okra patch, and so I always just want to know the details. So I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, I'm already looking at it like, dang, it's kind of big. Like it just added another bed to my plate, right? And so I'm like, so what are we doing for weed prevention? Like, tell me the plan. And he's like, yeah, I was just thinking you just get down there and pull it. I was like, oh no, I'm 5'8". What I'm not gonna be doing is being on the ground pulling weeds this summer. Yeah, I'm 5'8". So he like, I had a plan. He just took it over. It's like, yeah, because your plan didn't consider that I'm 5'8" and I got 3 places I'm gonna be.
No.
Yeah. And so he said I took over the plan. But I'm like, I have to think about the detail.
Mm-hmm.
I can see that it is annoying, but the plan can't be me on my knees picking out no weeds all spring, okay? It just cannot. And so I'm working on it. Because I still do understand the other side of it is just allowing men in their creative space. You're not thinking that you have to perfect it for them. Like, oh, well, we're thinking details. Because I'm thinking the details. And so just allowing them to lead their own creativity. And so yeah, that's my little story with the spirit to take over. Life will always
Mm-hmm.
be here.
It says, but when it is your man's turn at the plate, you need to learn to sit still and shut up. It is time to follow. It is just that simple. But when the woman cannot do this, it will almost certainly follow that the man will act out in a negative way.
Yeah,
Yeah, man, that's like, I had to highlight that. That makes a lot of sense.
that's a big fact.
Hmm.
And it shifts the whole energy. So yeah, ladies, don't have the spirit to take over.
Do your best.
Right, right. Just do your best. I just felt like the plan definitely couldn't be me getting down for Louis. I had to take over that. Like, like, what? Nah. And so I'm working on it in other departments. I'm gonna do my part. So were you picking up here?
Yeah, yeah. I was just about to ask.
Okay.
You want me to pick up here?
Yeah, I'm gonna go and get me something to drink.
Okay.
But it's gonna take 2 seconds, so you can start and I'm gonna have my book in my hand.
Okay. The counterfeit personality trap. The right brain yin thing is so very powerful. We see examples of women seeking perfection every day. They invest time, effort, and money into this. And then these women striving for perfection enter into a relationship and fail. Why? It is the absence of the seated hawk. From time to time, we see individual women who rise up to demonstrate perfection in some sport, art, music, work, or creation. And when we see what some women are capable of, it reminds us that each of us has this potential greatness within. The highest calling in life is to strive to become the highest and best version of something possible. But when the woman lacking the seated hawk archetype often neglects to perfect her personality. Hold on, let me read that. But the woman lacking the seated hawk archetype often neglects to perfect her personality. Her mantra is accept me as I am, no matter how dysfunctional that may be. Strange, her job, arts, talents, appearance, car, and home are worthy of investment, but apparently not her personality. Your body and face may get you into a relationship, but your personality will make it work. You have to live with with the situations you create. Why live in the dark, damp basement when you could live in a mansion? A sustainable, holistic, and natural woman has a naturally feminine personality. In our discussion of the personality, we will often use the term counterfeit personality. If your current version of personality is not a reflection of your natal spirit, it is not genuine and is therefore counterfeit. If your current version of personality reflects a bunch of masculine traits and attributes and very few feminine attributes, and you have a vagina, then your personality is counterfeit and does not reflect your natal gender. Hold on. I let me read that one more time. If your current version of personality is not a reflection of your natal spirit, it is not genuine and is therefore counterfeit. If your current version of personality reflects a bunch of masculine traits and attributes and very few feminine attributes, and you have a vagina, then your personality is counterfeit and does not reflect your natal gender. To qualify as your natal feminine personality, it must reflect your natal core self and a distinctly feminine signature. The shift from an Amazon, masculine, and counterfeit personality is a dynamic shift from the left brain lineal behavior to right brain intuitive behavior. Your core self is internal, it is not external. It is not artificial faces, facades, and masks that we wear. Thus, the shift from the counterfeit personality is a, is a dynamic shift from external faces and facades to a heart connection. The archetype of feminine energy, which awakens the right brain and repairs the head to heart disconnect, is the seated hawk. Therefore, in this chapter, we will present an awakening exercise and a case study which attempts to assist a woman to do this. Second Puberty, Hawk Edition. A woman begins this phase of the awakening program by infusing the catalyst for the seated hawk energy into her subconscious mind. This is begun by a series of meditations based around certain sounds, rhythms, and notes of music. It is organic. Each thing by itself is meaningless, but together it is a sequence that unlocks a key. You must be supervised by a guide to do this. You cannot do this by yourself. We dare not give too much detail on the actual process because some person would try to fill in the blanks or take shortcuts. The master feminine faculty goes into her DNA storehouse and locates the set of attributes associated with the seated hawk archetype or the intuitive right brain program and starts to transfer them from a dormant state into an active state. They start growing into real aspects of her being and stop being just potential traits. Within a matter of weeks and maybe even days, the woman's persona begins the shift from a left brained and masculine paradigm to a right brain and feminine persona. Once the catalyst is inserted into the woman's subconscious mind, her master feminine faculty will activate the programs almost immediately. It will begin to happen in a few weeks, even days. And most likely, the onset of this will throw the typical woman into conflict. A battle is about to be waged between your masculine, left brain, counterfeit personality and the feminine personality trying to displace it. Which one will win? The one that you feed the most will always win. If you successfully awaken your right brain and learn to intuit knowledge, it will be the coolest thing. Your teen daughter goes out and has a drink. In your dreams, you see her clearly drinking alcohol and you see the name of the bar and the time. You confront her. She cannot understand how you knew. You met a new man and he seems to be okay, but a thought pops into your head from out of nowhere saying, check his driving record. You check his driving record and discover he has 3 DUI convictions. So you know better than to give him drinks and then let him drive. He may kill someone. When you bring the seated hawk online, the reaction of men to you will change. It is like you are the sun and men just orbit around you. They may not be sleeping with you, but they feel a connection. When you call them, they will come. You stop competing with men. You no longer feel any need to argue, convince, or confront men or women. You intuitively know the secret law of manifestation. You visualize what you want done, and they will do it for you. Of course, you had a plan, which was more than just your own selfish agenda. Let us be clear. Men are compelled to follow your suggestions because you are in alignment with the energy of the times. You are intuitive. They are following you because of the energy, not because you just want them to. Awakening exercises. 1. Visualizations to encourage right brain development. 2. Identify your counterfeit personality. 3. Identify your external faces, facades, and masks. Get a preview into the faces, facades, and masks of males. 4. Align your personality to its natal position using the table of validation. These exercises require group participation to be done properly. At this stage, you should have assembled your awakening circle of women and men. There are women going through the awakening program with you. Oh, these are the women going through the awakening program with you. The awakening circle should be an honest forum, open, safe, and private. Identify your counterfeit personality. Awakening exercise. The hardest part of any personal transformation that involves a personality is the recognition on the part of the person that they need to do it. Our society does not encourage critical self examination. Politically correct speech today avoids even using words that directly refer to any negative or uncomplimentary trait. People do not normally acknowledge that anything is less than perfect with them. People always ask you how you are doing, but they definitely do not want you to tell them. You are expected to say, I'm okay, no matter what the truth is. People do not wish to speak about something being wrong, and even after a problem is first pointed out, many people began to force this thought out of their mind as soon as they wake up the next day. In my experience with people, I have found that only a very small percent of humanity are able to embrace being confronted by knowledge of their counterfeit personality. These are perhaps the most evolved among us. People enjoy pointing out these issues with other people, but they can stubbornly cling to a state of denial about their own issues, even in the face of overwhelming evidence. In this exercise, each woman shall attempt to list 2 issues or negative traits that she's been labeled with. Sit in a circle with paper. On one column on the paper, each woman is to write down 2 issues that a male in the past has accused her of. On the other side of the paper, she is to write down 2 issues her family labeled her with. Only allow 7 minutes for this. Then each woman will read her list and the group will pick 2 of the 4 issues. The group will choose issues that correlate to one of the five versions of the counterfeit personality. People who cannot write something down in 7 minutes are your best candidates for denial. Now, each person has 2 issues. Next, buy a whiteboard and erect it in front of the room. Now, each man and woman in turn will write their 2 issues on a clean board. She then stands in front of the group and explains why these are not her issues. The group then tries to determine which of the 5 personality structures from the table most closely describes her current counterfeit personality. Remember, your counterfeit personality is supposed to be negative. The group now picks one personality type for you. Write this down. It is your assignment for the next session. You may disagree with the choice, but the fact that they see it in this way is important to note. Do not worry, you will get a chance to amend it. Each of these 5 personality structures is caused by one of 5 central false belief systems. 1, the schizoid personality. 2, the oral personality. 3, the psychopathic personality. 4, the masochistic personality. 5, the anal or rigid personality. After the awakening circle has assigned each man and woman a counterfeit personality, give the group a few days to think about it. Then, at the next session, each person can change and pick their own choice, but they must give a reason why. Until you stop feeding your counterfeit personality, it will not fade.
Do you have the PDF of the personality type already on here that we can share?
Um, yeah, it should be.
Let's see. Okay.
Yeah.
So if you all forgot, that's the chart.
Yeah, the 5 central false belief systems. That's what these are. Okay, so now comes the hard part. You have to examine all the evidence and determine if there is a need to change anything. Few people, male or female, have full control of how their life starts. But each of us comes to a point in life when the past circumstances no longer control our future destiny. The awakening circle is the best way to uncover the counterfeit personality. For one thing, if a woman has not brought forth her seated hawk archetype of female energy, she may have trouble visualizing what that looks like for her specifically. It helps if she can see it reflected in another woman. It helps a lot if they can speak to another woman who has had the same experience they have had. Of course, the men have different archetypes. If this is done correctly, it may be one of the most moving, emotional, opening, and intense experiences of your life. Every woman needs to be heard. If the meetings are going to be successful, there must be honesty. This is the end of the exercise. Our faces. When a woman accepts false ideas and illusions about reality in the place of the reality itself, then she must become something counterfeit. Our friends respond to our facade. We get so used to operating under the facade that we believe in time that this facade is us. And getting a person to recognize that their counterfeit persona is indeed not their true self is a major challenge, to state it mildly. We are very young when we start doing this. Some examples: we use clothes, garments, and attire to present a face of who we are. If our attire is classy and elegant, then we believe we become classy and elegant. But you can put on any attire which you can afford. You do not have to change inside to present. Oh, wait, you do not have to change inside to present a look through attire. You can look sexy, but not feel sexy. In short, there can be a disconnect between your presentation and what you really are. We use our friends to project an image of ourselves. Whether we mean to or not, people judge us by the people we hang out with and where we go with them. Are we a gangster wannabe who hangs out in the inner city and goes home at night to the suburbs? In short, there can be a disconnect between your peer group and what you are really about. Our automobile amounts to another layer of our persona. Like in a Batman movie, our car is like our exoskeleton. It is this complex machine which we control. Our automobile has an emblem which denotes we are something special. Our persona merges into it. We can afford this car. It indicates our social standing. We present an image of ourselves based on the image of the car. In short, there can be a disconnect between your image or facade and what you really are. And we can add many layers: our job title, our Blackberry, our badges and trophies. We identify with them. It is all exterior stuff, and the people in your vicinity believe that your facade is you, and you are really your facade: the public face, peers, events, car, house, and achievements. There are so many facets and layers of the modern counterfeit personality. It starts with the mask, the face we put on for the public. But these faces don't reflect the inner you, the core of you. Our true feminine self is buried under there somewhere. We are no longer in touch with it. We are no longer present in life. It is our counterfeit persona which makes the decisions for us now. We have lived the life that society said we should have lived. We dress the way that is socially proper. We express our sexual appetite within the set boundaries. We no longer even remember what it feels like to be fully present with a man, to risk all, trust all, give all, accept all, and be all. And this is where the typical woman disconnects from men. For she is born with a longing, an aching desire, a destiny, an inner burning to be something, to do something. And she disconnects from her longing in life when she stops being fully present in a feminine way. She disconnects from men. Awakening exercise, the table of validation exercise. For this exercise, oh wait, let me pull that up. That's this one here. For this exercise, make a copy of the table and blow it up to 36 inches by 24 inches or larger. You can also put this image in a PowerPoint slide and project it from your notebook computer to the front of the room, or go to the website to get assistance. When a woman expresses the Amazon persona in the presence of males, it broadcasts to the males the messages of disregard, disrespect, rejection, and etc. In this exercise, the group should discuss how this dynamic plays out in everyday life. Refer to personal situations when this is possible. Talk about the male reaction when he is placed on the bottom part of this chart. Um, Also discuss how women feel when males place them on the bottom portion of the table. When do males acknowledge, accept, approve, etc., of women in the group, and why? Being physically attractive is one example. What are the others? In the conclusion of the session, discuss what changes in personality are necessary to keep relationships on the top portion of the table of validation. Let me sorry. What in the conclusion of the session, discuss what changes in the personality are necessary to keep relationships on the top portion of the table of validation all the time. That's the end of the exercise. So the top portion, high pH, feminine. So we've got adoration, and the hormone boost for adoration is melatonin, melanin. It's a blood pH level of 9.6. Admiration, human growth hormone, and dopamine. Appreciation is thyroxine. Affection boosts endomorphs. Approval boosts insulin. Acceptance boosts androgens. Acknowledgement boosts steroids. And those are all the top portion of the table, feminine. And then the bottom portion, which is um, low pH and Amazon in nature. Disregard boosts acid toxins. Rejection, disrespect, and disapproval boost toxic neurochemicals. Hatred, malign, and revulsion all boost carcinogens. So yeah, I think we're stopping here, right?
Yeah, that was just half of the chapter, but it's just a lot when you're looking at the chart and just thinking about what hormone it boosts or it boosts, and then looking at the disregard, the rejection, and those are all toxins that are released. That's crazy. It lowers your pH. Literally, we talk about this all the time,
Mm-hmm.
but not from this perspective. Somebody lowering your
Mm-hmm.
pH, and we talk about it on the physical, but we're not thinking about the spiritual of it.
Right. Very much like cancer, like the cancer,
Right,
where there's the energetic field, auric field.
right.
And then the whole counterfeit personality trap, where it's just like just being groomed to be counterfeit. Just going back to how technology makes that very easy and welcomed,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah, and I know this is in perfect time and in alignment because what I've been thinking about lately is how we'll get on social media and we see all these pages and whatever is attracting to us or whatever we're attracting to ourselves, that's naturally what's going to be in your news feed. And a lot of times
Mm.
we are not taking into consideration this may or may not be a counterfeit personality that somebody else was just able to monetize, because that's what it is. It's like not only is it not genuine on the inside, but them just being so good at that it attracts others. And so that's deep. Um, that's why me personally, I try to show up for my social media platform. I know sometimes I look at rough, but that's just the reality. I'm not dressed up all the time. So whatever I have going on, whether it be the garden, going to a doctor's appointment or whatever, I'm going to try to show up just being genuine. And sometimes I remember going back looking at my videos and be like, why didn't I step it up a little? It's
Mm-hmm.
just like, yeah, people want to be relative. Like they want to relate. They're not necessarily looking to see if you got all your T's crossed and your I's dotted. And so that's the thing. And this right here just puts it in perspective when it comes to your relationships. And so it's like, dang, is any of it real at this? It's like, dang,
Oh wow.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's a really good point because if you're dealing with a counterfeit personality, I don't know something I read about it where it was just like if you don't have any connection or ability to have like or tap in or align with a feminine uh personality, then you in fact have a counterfeit one.
And that's deep in itself.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
You playing a role. And most women, I say most women I know, um, by force, having to play the role, just to keep it all together. So, can you imagine just operating in the counterfeit all the time? How exhausting that may be.
Yeah, well, maybe, yeah, yeah, but maybe you don't even know that you're exhausted because if you are using things like your car and your where you went to get your education and the type of house and your talents and skills and all of those things and you focus on that because you don't have a personality, maybe there's not even an awareness. And I think that's where the whole awakening circles come in because it's like, what if you're not even aware that you rely on those things
Mm-hmm.
to offset the fact that you really don't know who you are and you really can't be without you don't know what it looks like to be without those things separate.
Yeah.
Dang.
Who are you outside of these constructs?
Yeah. Yeah.
And this is everything, because it's like when you become a mom,
Mm.
you lose yourself, and it's like, okay, you have to remember, who am I before I became a mom? And so yeah, you even, no matter what, is your personality counterfeit? Yeah. So this chapter was very deep. Definitely have to go back and replay this a couple of times, because for the most part, I always go inward. Sometimes I am on the outskirts trying to see how this plays out in a relationship, but just in most cases, it is, like you said, inward work. And so just looking at how you are in operation today, and is this the real you? And another thing that stuck out to me was the intuit model. It's just like, yeah, because every time I go against my intuition, I'm like, dang. I really beat myself up. I'm like, it was something that told you to go the other way, and then you allow logic to steer you in another direction. And like
Mm-hmm.
you said, logic doesn't always apply. And so,
Mm.
yeah, building your own counterfeit, or dismantling the counterfeit. Um, that's why we don't like to be boxed in to one of the two or three things that we do. I remember having a conversation with someone, and they were it was about gardening. They're like, yeah, you really good at it. And it's cool. Yes, I am. But I was just so offended and in my feelings that I had to be boxed in to just gardening. It's like, no, that's not what all my passion lies. And so that's what it is. Like, I don't want to be stuck in a counterfeit box. I'm like, yeah, this is, it's like, nah. Because gardening is very hard. For me, it takes a lot of showing up every day, that
Mm-hmm.
consistency. And so that's another thing. That's what it teaches me, how to show up every day. You paying attention to the details and stuff. And so
Mm-hmm.
you don't have to be boxed in though. You can just go with creator, and that way everything you touch, it pretty much will come together. But this book just makes me think, girl. Just like that.
It
Every
does, right?
yeah,
On delay too. Sometimes I wake up and be like, "Oh my gosh, that's what they mean. That's what he means."
right, right. So anybody want to hop on? We are going to get out of here pretty soon. We're not going to keep y'all long tonight. Anybody got something they want to share? You can share it in the comments as well. And if not, we're gonna ride on out. We got started pretty late. And
Mhm.
as you all can see, I am beat. I'm sleepy.
Same.
Right, right. Yeah. And so I was telling everybody to check in. We're just trying to get some engagement going. Let us know what city and state you're listening from. Of course, we got our brother Uno calling in or listening in from Phoenix, Arizona. And so, yeah, we know Chanel's here, Mineral Wells in the house. It's kind of late here, and we ain't gonna kick it like it's too late. Given a day, we had a house party going on, we'll be up. But yeah, yeah,
Ooh.
Chanel. I want to shout out Chanel's mom and her friend Amy. They came through on yesterday and helped me. Chanel, I didn't call you back because that garden, it was overwhelming. It was no way I was gonna break away to do anything. And so April and Amy came over, and everything got done so fast. I'm so grateful, ladies. If y'all listen back to the playback, I appreciate the help. Yesterday was long, but it felt so good to I think my lesson yesterday, I was outside and something just I'm like my usual shenanigans. I'm like, dang, I need some help. I always be like, I'm finna go to the Home Depot, get me some burgers. And so I was thinking, I'm like, man. And so self just was like, you don't ever ask for help.
Mm.
And so I went ahead and called April and asked her, did she want to help? I didn't even ask properly. I'm like, don't you want to help me, please? And so she not only pulled up, she brought her friend, and that stuff got knocked out. I'm so grateful. And so,
Wow.
yeah, appreciate y'all ladies. I told y'all I was going to shout y'all out on here. And so that's how yesterday went for me, getting everything in order. My counterfeit self shows up at the garden sometimes. And I want to play the role of the damsel in distress. So I pull up out there and be like, where's my help? Where's my farm hand? You know? And so yesterday was awesome. But yeah, y'all, we're gonna get out of here. You manifested that help. I learned how to ask. Sagittarius do not like to ask for help. We'll
Mm.
be struggling in the dark, okay? We'll be silently suffering. And so that's a part of my journey. Like you have all the help you need around you. You just have to ask. And so I wouldn't say it was ego. It's just me not wanting to burden anyone else with me biting off more than I could chew.
Mm.
And that's the thing. And so that is part of my journey, learning how to ask for help. So I definitely manifested that and I was appreciative. Thank you, ladies. They were so
Yes,
strong. They was like, yeah, girl power. It was so fun. It was so
that's
fun.
dope.
So yeah, that's how yesterday went. But y'all, if y'all don't want to hop on, we're gonna go ahead and go. I'm looking for the book. We're gonna pick up next week. Same chapter, chapter 10, and we'll be going over the case studies. And the next section will be Kim life episode, and this is gonna be kind of short, I would say. Let's see. So we're gonna wrap up this chapter next week. We will have the Wednesday night pre-read. If you are interested in participating on Wednesday night, please let us know ahead of time. So on Wednesday night, we can just send you out the link. Shout out to everybody that participates every Wednesday. Jade, Step, Lisa, we we enjoy the time with y'all. And so
Mm-hmm.
Wednesday night is full of laughs and vulnerability. Us all sharing and growing. Shout out to Indira too. She pulls up sometimes. So yeah. If you're interested, let us know. We'll send you the link and we pretty much go through these readings and discuss and we're a little more open on how it relates to us on a personal level. So yeah. I'm gonna go ahead and plug. Go ahead and move things along. So I am Styles by Nina on all my social media platforms. On Twitter, it's at Urban Intellectual. Also, of course, Facebook is Katie's Alchemy. I don't post on there much, but I do post. You can go over there, Katie's Alchemy on Instagram as well, and find healing herbs. I sometimes share different herbs and different methods of using those herbs, including magical practices. And so we just want to stay in connection with Earth through ritual. And we know ritual is anything that you do consistently. And so you can go over there. You can also find me, Styles by Nina, on Instagram. My personal page is a little more controversial, so it's not for the weak. Okay. Feel free to come over there and go ahead and what is it? Subscribe or follow on Instagram.
Follow. Mhm.
Yeah, and don't forget to hit up the subscribe button, share, like, and comment on Styles by Nina. And if you have time, go over to Katie's Alchemy and hit the replay as well. I'm trying to get that channel up too. And so we're trying to go up from here. The podcast again is Combos from Cloud9. We're gonna get that back going eventually.
Mm-hmm.
And so anybody that wants to come on to the platform there, you don't have to hold your words because radio has different rules. And so the platform is always open to anybody, even if you want to get on there and talk about how you create some of your creative endeavors. You can come over there and share that as well. On that platform, I can do advertising, and so you just let me know you need something advertised. I plug it in. I will read whatever it is you want me to read, and then during my podcast when it airs, I can put that commercial in there. We do charge $5 per advertisement, and that's very cheap considering it's being played in 4 or 5 countries.
Mm.
That does not guarantee customers, but it does guarantee you getting your name out there and building community. And so that is the underlying goal. That's what we have in common here. And so feel free to reach out, y'all. Jennifer, you gonna go ahead and plug?
So I am the Abundant Sister on Instagram, Twitter, YouTube here. Please subscribe to my channel as well. You can follow me on Instagram. If ever there's any voiceover work or anything, hit me up. I'm always interested in that. Um, you can subscribe also to my body butter page, Soul Sister Beauty. My website is soulsisterbeauty.com. Um, please also subscribe and follow When We Think of Us here on YouTube, as well as Instagram, and lots more to come from that as well.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Man, special shout out to Brother Uno. You know, I gotta plug you. He did create my intro music on my podcast. And so y'all holler at Brother Uno. He is a music engineer. And so not just books, he does beats and anything else you would need as a musical, I guess, prop, that's what you call it. So if you can plug into your podcast, he can create it. You just tell him what you want. I remember I asked him, I'm like, I wonder is he really working on it? And so once he sent me my intro, I was like, thank you. So sweet. And so I did try to pay him. He cussed me out. He like, man, go ahead on. And so I appreciate that. I need to start using it on here, but I'm just not that tech savvy. So I haven't figured it out yet. But I do intend on using it on YouTube as well. Just as an intro. That's what it's designed for. I like upbeat stuff. And then y'all know with YouTube they have options for intro, but some of them are quite corny, you know? It's like where y'all
I
getting it?
bet.
Yeah. So nothing like having your own. And yeah, so don't forget to go over to the Abundant Sisters podcast when we think of us. Subscribe, like, and share. And you said y'all are live every Thursday night.
Thursday night. Yep. Thursday at 10.
Thursday at 10, that's Eastern time, correct?
Yes. 10
Okay.
Eastern. And then the podcasts are available Fridays.
Okay. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So you can catch that thing live. Don't forget to support y'all and don't forget to subscribe to the Abundant Sisters YouTube. Y'all subscribe, tell
Yes.
a friend to tell a friend. We are both trying to get our platforms monetized, and that takes work and us repeating the same thing
Mm-hmm.
every single week. So we appreciate everybody that showed up. We know it's kind of late, so we're gonna
Mm-hmm.
go ahead
Thank
and go.
you.
Right.
Yes, y'all. Until next time, peace, prosperity, and abundance.
And peace, power, and abundance, y'all. And enjoy your week. Peace.
Peace.